I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Believe it or not, we are on episode 14 of All American. Yes, you guys, we have covered 13 episodes so far of this amazing season. And tonight's episode is called Who Shot Ya? We find out at the very end who shot Coop. There's going to be spoilers, obviously, in this after show, so if you haven't seen it, make sure to watch it before watching our after show, because this was a great one. And also, you guys, we have a very, very special guest in studio today. This is going to be an incredible show, because we have Darnell in studio, who is played by Da Vinci. So this is huge, you guys. For those of you not watching but listening, he is just sitting here eagerly awaiting to share his thoughts of the show and provide some really fun insight. We also are going to be having a special segment later on that we always have called MVP, where we share with you who the most valuable player of this week's episode is. We love getting to that because I look forward to this every single week. And we're going to have a one-on-one interview with Da Vinci. If you guys have any questions for Da Vinci, make sure to leave it in the comments below, because Sierra here will be reading your comments out loud, and we'll be answering everything on the spot, you guys. This is going to be super interactive, super engaging. With that being said, I am your host, Mina Naidine, and to my left, we have Sierra Chanell.
It's me as always. Happy to be back. Here we are.
She always brings her astrological take to the show. We go over signs, what it means. We try to incorporate that as much as possible. And on the very end of the table, we have Zakiyyah.
Hey!
Who blows my mind every single time, because she always gets the predictions right, and it's always mind-blowing for me, because I doubt her. She comes through, and it's just mind-blowing.
CW needs to hire me, as a writer, I'm just saying.
It's because I told her what happened.
And last but not least, we have Da Vinci, whose voice you just heard, you guys. We're so excited to talk to you. We have been looking forward to this and just, knowing everything about what goes on behind the scenes, everything you can tell us, and anything you can tease moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think on that.
Yeah, don't let her get you in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get you in trouble, but I'm definitely going to pull out as much as possible.
Okay.
What were your overall thoughts of this week's episode?
Overall thoughts, everyone was at their breaking point. I feel like I say that every single week. Everyone was just manic. Everyone was losing their minds. Coop, again, was doing too much for people that didn't necessarily deserve it. It was overwhelming. But we're here to tell the tale.
Oh, yes. What she said. So that part. Honestly, this was the craziest episode. And if you guys watch all the time, you know how I feel about Darnell in the show. And Darnell's right next to me, Da Vinci. So
how you feel about
there's
me?
that.
How do you feel about Darnell? How do you feel, Zakiyyah?
He's my man crush one day.
Oh my god. Whoa. We just started. This is going off the rails. Oh my god.
Yo, but I'm not a fan or nothing, so it's cool. Y'all not gonna catch me slipping.
Da Vinci, you had a chance to read the script. What were your initial thoughts when you read the script for this week's episode and you found out that Shawn's mom was the person who ends up killing Tyrone?
So, true story, I wasn't at the table read because I think I was out of town. So, I didn't, get the same special table read effect.
Right.
So I was kind of reading it really fast because right when I got back in town, I had to shoot. So I was really just studying my lines, my part. I was okay, this is that. So, but then skimming through the ending, I'm just being honest right now.
Yeah.
They're probably we're not gonna hire her for season 3. So yeah, but then when I got to that part, I was just like, what? I was hoping it was Coop, and I was hoping it was yeah, I was hoping it was Coop. Yeah. I was hoping that, but she got off with self-defense or something.
Right.
So I was really hoping that she popped Tyrone because I was just I didn't like him from season 1. So
Nobody did.
Yeah.
So there
toxic.
Was there, what I thought was really interesting about this week's episode is Tyrone is almost being humanized a bit, where we find out that there were people who actually did love Tyrone.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting because, obviously this story is being told through the perspective of all the other characters that we root for, the kids that, Beverly and also the kids who are from Crenshaw. And we don't get to see that side where people like Tyrone. We see the world in which Tyrone is either feared or he has alliances or he's hated. But it was so interesting to see a new take where, you know, the minister at the beginning of this week's episode talks about he was a person. This is what he was like when he was a kid. I really thought that was interesting. What effect do you guys think that had of, like, humanizing someone that has so often throughout this entire season and season 1 been so vilified?
I mean, like, death is sad regardless of who you are, you know what I mean? And it's all about perspective. Whenever people pass away, there's always someone that, like, loves that person or had love for that person. And so I don't know, I think it's important to kind of bring that to light whenever someone passes, especially in a TV show.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, too, what played a huge part is the fact that they're explaining how close the neighborhood was. Because Tyrone, to be known by the pastor, that this church that everyone goes to be known since he was a child and now since till his death, and then along with all the other children, which was Coop, Shawn's mother's back. We found out she popped Tyrone. But the facts of, like, being in the black church and understanding that the hood is, although you have enemies, like, you've probably grown up with these people, and that's, like, a real dynamic that you see in the neighborhood. So I like that they brought that aspect. But again, it was crazy. I'm happy that they decided to tell Tyrone in a different light, because we often want to hate him, but it was, like, harder to hate him when he was dead.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember we were talking about that. We were like, we want to know more about him at one point.
And I think we found out that little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you think that he was going to be killed off so soon? I know it's been a long time coming, but it felt like, you know, Tyrone had the ball in his court. It really felt like he was the one operating from a position of power, and everybody else seemed scared for their lives. It's so interesting to see how everything kind of reversed.
Yeah, I was starting to think that Shawn was invincible. You know what I mean? Like,
Tyrone?
I mean, shoot, yes, Tyrone. I was starting to think that he was invincible.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing all these crazy things and nothing was ever happening to him. And yeah, I was shocked. That was the last person I literally thought was gonna die. Like, I thought Spencer was gonna die before him.
Yeah.
Truly.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it took too long.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. But one thing, just to piggyback off what you guys were saying about the Tyrone situation, I think it was really dope that they showed him in that other light, because I feel like anybody's a killer if you push them to the right limits.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think, like, that's why I like the movie that with Joker that just recently came out.
Right.
And just to show what things, like, just make a man get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, because I was born in Brooklyn and moved in Orange. I was right by the projects. I seen kids that I went to school with as, like, now they're fiend out. Or they're real killers. Like, yeah, they're locked up for life. And it's like, these were innocent kids, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like the hands that they were dealt pushed them in that direction. So they're not necessarily evil. It's just like nature, their environment made them like that cold, you know what I'm saying? But
You see that with Shawn's mom too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was deep. That was deep, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm not just because I'm a fan. Like, that was no, because everybody was like, she gonna agree with everything you said.
She could do no wrong in Zakiyyah's eyes at this point. It's already out there.
Well,
He's a Tyrone in his neighborhood. I'm like,
Like, you're crazy. Oh my god.
So, do you guys think, I know this is getting into predictions a little bit, and we're going to save that for later, but do you guys think that there is going to be some sort of, like, blowout or pushback because of Tyrone's absence and all the people who were allies with him? Do you think that someone is going to have to pay for this, even though Shawn's mom has already turned herself in? Or do you think this is kind of like the end to all of this, you know, violence and, you know, payback?
I mean, I'm assuming it's never going to be the end, but I hope that it at least takes Coop out of the equation. You know what I mean? Where people aren't trying to kill her, too.
yeah.
Right.
I feel like there's not going to be anything else about Tyrone. Maybe there's going to be a new emerging, like, gangster. Maybe Coop is going to take the gangster position.
I need Coop to just chill out, read a book, like, hang out with your friends.
I'm trying
can't.
to see Coop be a drug lord.
No.
I'm not going to lie.
No. Focus on your music. Get in the studio. I can't.
No, I'm just kidding. That's just me watching too many gangster movies. I'm sorry. I love them. Okay, but yeah, I think someone else is going to emerge, but Tyrone is completely out the question.
Right.
Hopefully Coops get famous, and hopefully this song is going to make her get famous.
Right. I know Da Vinci gets to see some of the scripts beforehand. How far into the future do you know about the show and what's going to happen for the season finale?
Oh, I mean, we finished it already.
So you know everything that happens.
Yeah,
like everything's on the table.
Yeah.
What can you tease or tell us about what we can expect for
so,
the following episodes?
So what I would say as like an audience member is that there's always like a price to pay for anything in life. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So it's like
God.
nothing. There's always like a counteraction for your action. So it's like to kill someone like as big as Tyrone, you would be a fool to think that that's it.
Right.
That's like you coming for someone's head. That's like a big shot. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
Even if Shawn's mom is in prison.
even if Shawn's mom is in prison,
There's still
I
someone
think-
that's gonna pay.
I think so. Like someone gonna have to, you know.
Yeah, I didn't think it
Hey.
was over. I really didn't think it was over.
I mean, I don't know. I'm watching like you guys, but I just think like, you know.
He's like, I'm watching. I wasn't every single episode, but I am watching like
Out of all the things that have happened, that you can talk about, was there any one moment when reading a script or watching a performance play out where you were just like, wow, jaw dropped, like, I can't believe this is happening, or like anything that really like took you by surprise in the writing of the show?
I think episode 7 when Corey died.
Okay.
Because it's
that
like
was so sad. We were sobbing.
Crying.
yeah, and it kind of like the story with like Corey and Spencer, it kind of like hit home in a way. No, my father's still alive, not that, but it's like, you know, my father went off and like started another family. You know what I'm saying? So I heard a lot of things about him growing up, and I didn't really get to know him until I lived with him when I was like 14. So it's like there was definitely like animosity, like he went off, he started this new family and this and that. But it's just like as you mature and become a man, you just realize like my parents did the best they could. You know, they're from a third world country. They didn't know any better. If they did, I don't think they would do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just, you know, it's hard to know that you grew up completely different from like your half sibling. You know, it's just like, damn, the amount of meals I missed. You know what I'm saying? But it just takes like, you know, just life and experience to just make you be like, you know what? It's not your fault. Like, I understand. Like, you didn't know better. And if you did, then...
Wait, sorry. Speaking of, because, like, you're giving us a little insight of, like, who you are, Da Vinci. So, I wrote this down, like, because I want to know who's Da Vinci. Are you similar to Darnell? Or, like, who are you, basically? You seem like you're sort of shy, but very outgoing and kind in the show. Is that the same person here, or...
Darnell is definitely kind of similar to me. I would definitely say that. And he... After, like, he left the little asshole phase, he definitely turned into me. You know, like, the asshole tough guy, that was not me. You know, but, like, afterwards, I was like, you know, wow, he's really, like, turning into me, you know? So I think there's similarities there.
Do you feel like you relate more to Darnell or Spencer when you're watching the show play out and seeing, like, his life experiences unfold?
Yeah.
I think Spencer, because it's like I grew up in like a predominantly all black school, but I kept getting in trouble. And then at 13, I got sent to my father in Florida, and then I went to a predominantly all white school. So, and then just seeing the dichotomy with those two worlds, it was just like, yo, like first time I dealt with racism, I used to think like racism was over. Nope. When I went to the South, I went to Florida, and it's like Central Florida. So not Miami, not Orlando, not what they advertise.
Yeah.
It's like where you could be driving and you see like a noose hanging off of a tree. Like, you know, and like where girls will tell you, I would date you, but you're black. You know, like, I hope they're watching now. No, I'm playing. No, I'm playing.
No, but really though. I'm from Texas, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like just seeing those two different worlds, and I think it definitely helped me a lot, like, because I came like with like the same energy from up north. The minute I got down there, I went to court, 13, just doing bad shit. But it's just like that being there though, like it really like straightened me up.
Do you have any
100%.
advice for people who are struggling with a place of just feeling in between two worlds or not belonging to either group?
Gotcha. I think if you find yourself not fitting in, I think that's a sign from God. Like you were born to stand out. Not
Think message.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you just gotta embrace that. Like growing up, I never embraced that. English wasn't my first language. I never embraced that. I'm Haitian. We have Dominican in us. We have a bunch of. I never embraced that. I always wanted to be like the African American kids because they would make fun of the islanders. They were like, "Oh, you're an African booty scratcher." So I would never embrace that. But now, like, I'm a man. Everyone's like, "Yo, that's dope. You speak French? Like, what the, you know?" So it's just like I would just tell any kid like, but it's kind of hard for them to really grasp this right now due to the fact that like nature forces upon the minds of men the influences of their environment. So it's like when you're in an environment that's not conducive to embracing who you are, it's kind of really hard to stand alone. So I understand like 100% for those kids. Like it sounds better coming from me because they're gonna be like, oh well, you're here already. Right. But like if I do this in my public school, like, I'm gonna get smacked in my head, So it's just like blend in when you can, but just stay true to yourself. That's what I really would say.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that. So for anyone, tuning in right now, who is just logging in to the chat, we have Darnell in studio, Da Vinci. If you have any questions for him, make sure to leave it in the comment section below so that we can shout you out during the show and make sure your questions get answered, especially if it's any burning question. So you're going to be keeping a lookout for that. I'm on it. So
people are very happy that you're here.
Whatever people are saying.
Hey guys.
But I do want to move on a little bit right now to the Olivia, Asher, and Billy Baker dynamic. From last episode, we saw that Olivia had confronted Asher about his steroid use, and he obviously came clean about it. But then Olivia in this episode has decided to tell her father about, the use of steroids, and Billy Baker confronts Asher about that, and I don't want to say hell breaks loose, but obviously this shakes up the dynamic between the three of them. And we finally have a situation in which, at the end of the episode, Billy Baker takes the heat for something that was Asher's problem, which we'll get to in a second. But I first want to ask you, Did Olivia do the right thing?
No, I'm playing.
Did Olivia do the right thing by being a snitch?
She's always doing that.
Yeah, she always. Here comes Olivia. No.
Yeah, she's just a tattletale. Like, I would have talked to Asher first. Like, look, Asher, I'm gonna tell my pops. Like, you doing this shit? Like, if you don't stop that, I would have. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna go straight to the head coach.
Yeah.
Like, that's some Beverly shit. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry. That's some Beverly stuff.
So you wouldn't have done that. You would have gone straight to the source.
I would have talked to him about it. Like, then I would have threatened to tell.
But also, we can't forget, like, she has had serious issues with addiction. You know what I mean? I think I would agree.
Okay, Team Olivia.
No. I usually, every week, I'm like, I can't stand Olivia.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah,
literally.
we are.
Every single week, I'm Team Olivia.
Yeah,
I'm like, no. But
her.
Truly, she has had, like, serious issues with addiction, and I was, like, so against her until the end when she was like, I literally can't be around this, and I was like, all right, well, I get that. But I don't know.
I honestly think she loved him so much, and then she understood like how hard addiction was, that this week I'm gonna say, okay, Olivia, we understand why you told. And I also think it was really kind and man of Asher to be like, look, I can't even be mad at you. Like, I'm upset, but thank you, you care about me type. Like, I was thought Asher on them steroids gonna be like, oh, I saw him hitting out like a door. Yeah, but he manned up. So go ahead.
Do you think Asher is deserving of a second chance to be on the team, given his steroid use, given that nobody else, like this wouldn't cut it in any other environment, like you would just be out for this type of thing anywhere else?
Isn't this his second time getting in trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Mrs. Baker, she said something like, I hope he appreciates what you actually did for him. And I feel like he's not going to, because he always just gets emotional and then, like, pops off on, like, something random. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I hope he appreciates it.
I'm kind of annoyed because, for me, what I was thinking was, like, Billy, you're giving up your check. Like, this is how you feed your family.
Right. But his wife makes, like, hella clear, though.
District attorney, come on.
They're separated, so at any point, He could be going back home to his dad.
They're gonna get back together. I'm not even worried about it.
But he got that ex-NFL money, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
I think he stashed
I'm like,
a
that
few,
runs out
like,
eventually.
I don't know. For me, I was annoyed with the fact. I understood why Billy Baker did it, but I was with Laura, like,
right.
why?
Like, this is a little boy. He's going to mess up again.
This isn't even your son or your child.
But he was trying to make right of his wrongs because he brought up Jordan.
Jordan, yeah.
Right. And he was like, I feel like he was trying to be like, I have to do the right thing now.
He felt guilty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though he still didn't do the right thing. Because the right thing to say, that was Asher's. So,
Oh my God.
I mean,
loves the drama.
he definitely took the bullet for Asher. But what I really did appreciate about Coach Billy Baker was that he struck a deal with Asher where he said, you are going to stay on the team as long as you do a daily urine test with me. And I think that was super effective in making sure that his sacrifice was not for nothing, that he would be taking those tests to ensure that he would not have steroid use at all.
Right.
So I love that he ensured that that contract, if you will, to like take the next step.
Right.
But
I just like literally, where did Coach Baker hide those drugs if like a custodian like just found them? You know what I mean?
He threw them out at school. Like, oh, it's steroids. Hey, put it in the garbage.
It's so clearly labeled. Like, let me just go like in his office.
It's a show, guys. It's a show.
No, this is real life.
No.
And where did Chris come from? I'm still questioning where Chris came from.
Wait, Chris?
Yeah, Chris, Olivia's friend. We'll get to that in a bit
my
too.
God. Yeah.
With Brace.
Right. With Brace now.
He never had
upgrades.
He never had braids
though.
before.
I hope him and Olivia.
Because he was shooting a show in Italy that told him to grow his hair.
Stop.
So then when he came back to
Hidden gem.
I'm just telling you guys an inside scoop.
Hidden
Oh my
gems.
God, I'm spiraling. Oh my God.
Well, first of all,
That is amazing. We all were like, where these braids come from?
I love
they
that.
hanging on his neck. He grew them for a long time.
Right. And no one
That's
said
a year.
And no one said anything. Like, we were supposed to act like he was okay.
What do we think of Billy Baker taking the bullet for Asher? What are your thoughts?
I think if you're a problem child, you know, like, I don't know if I would take the bullet for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the third time it should be, like, everyone deserves a second chance.
Right.
I'm definitely a firm believer of that. If I didn't have a second chance, I would have never been here right now.
Yeah.
You know, but like a third, fourth, fifth, sixth chance.
Do you think that he might have a little bit more empathy for Asher, given that Olivia has gone through drug addiction, given that Jordan has made mistakes as well? Do you think that gives him a different level of empathy?
Yeah, definitely. I think because of the Jordan mistake and because of Olivia being, you know, a drug addict at one point, I think he's definitely like, that's what made him, you know, just be like, I'm gonna take this hit for you.
I think it's because, like, he's starting to really see his football players as his family. Before, when Spencer almost died, like, he's honestly starting to say, these are my boys. Not only Jordan is my son, these are my sons as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, twist, okay, this is another prediction. What if he coaches, what if he coached for Crenshaw? Okay, I'm done.
Oh, wow.
Good.
I know, right?
That'd be cute.
That would be great.
I'm a writer.
Yeah.
Are you really?
No.
She will be. She will be a writer. At this
like,
rate,
now I am.
at this rate with her predictions,
Yeah.
she's going to get into the writer's room at any
honestly,
point
with your
now.
predictions, if you keep making them accurate like that, you should gamble. Like,
Yeah, just go to
this is
Vegas.
a waste of talent. Like, you can't gamble.
Me gambling and being a millionaire, I'll cut you out like
Yeah, I'm about to be in Vegas. Come, like,
$25. No, I'm just kidding.
Another situation I really want to get into is Jordan and Simone. Simone is
Skinny love.
she's pregnant. Last episode we saw her have that chat with her parents. Now she's living with the Bakers, and Laura confronts her and tells her, "Don't hurt my boy. Like, you did it in the past. You need to figure out a game plan if you're going to be a mom." Tough love or good advice?
I think that it was perceived a little bit differently. Like, I don't think she needed to, like, completely move out of the house and, like, never be seen again.
Right.
I think she was looking out for her son. She
Totally.
really said, I don't want Jordan to be hurt. And then Simone was also looking out for Jordan because at the end of the day, he's hurt now, but he'll get over it. But say once his baby is like born and he really understands
Once
that
his baby?
No, this baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not his baby.
I was
So
about to say, what?
it's not my man.
He's like, I'm at the wrong show.
Baby. But no, once the baby is born, he really starts to understand he's not his father. She doesn't want him to get too involved, which I understand from like a pregnant woman's point of view and a mother's point of view. So Simone's really just looking out for Jordan.
Right.
Do you think in real life that would happen?
I think it has
Like
happened.
Oh, my mom would
but
take a deep breath.
A character like Jordan, though, like based off
A
of his actions in the show.
smoking hot character
Do
who's on
you
a
think he
football
would be a
team
stepdad?
taking
Yeah.
care of another girl's child
Yeah.
at the age of 16
And not
while
with those
living in
parents.
I'm not
Beverly
coming for any
Hills.
of the writers.
Yeah, I mean, anything
I'm
is
just
possible in
saying,
this
like,
world, right?
I would find that hard. To believe.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a dream guy at this
It's like a
point.
voluntary
No.
stepdad. That's crazy. He
Yeah.
don't even got to be in that
But
situation.
young
There
love,
are people
young
like
love
that,
is
though.
interesting. You never know
Yeah.
what you would
Yeah,
do for
but
someone
he-
at that age.
Yeah.
Okay, if he was desensitized to women, like this is like his first girl or second girl, I would be like, okay.
Right, but we saw
But this
how he
is
was
not,
acting up.
you know what
right.
I'm saying? So this guy is like, I mean, maybe Simone just got it like that or something.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Maybe she got it like that. Like,
I honestly don't know how it went from him just being like an F-boy to developing this friendship with Simone to now being 100% invested. It felt like it went from 0 to 180 really
I
quickly.
feel like because he thought he was going to be a dad.
Exactly.
That's what changed it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when he realized he wasn't and he was upset, he still was there for Simone despite that really crazy thing that she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that extremely bizarre, but also commendable.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, all of a sudden, it feels like he has this best friendship with her that's almost unreciprocated in a sense.
like I would never, ever. A girl lied to me like that, trying
Yeah.
to get me to be the baby daddy, and they're like, that's not my baby. I would thank God, like, oh yes, and just leave.
Yeah.
She would never hear from me again.
Even if you're
Never?
invested in the
Never.
idea of having a kid and you're excited about it and you like think about it and you're like, I'm gonna be a dad, then you really would just be like, oh, this girl's crazy, I'm out, even though you had
I
this
would-
image in your mind of a baby coming into the world.
Absolutely. It would
Wow.
have disappeared so fast. I
Wow.
was like, wow, I can't believe I'm about to have a kid. Woo. She's like, it's not mine. Woo.
Yeah.
I would expect in high school? Like,
Right.
yo, come on.
It
that's
is.
a lot.
I am
Ryan,
very,
oh my
High
God.
school? Like,
I am very shocked because I thought the topic of abortion would come up like more full force, and it did come up a little bit in last week's episode where the parents were trying to tell Simone, you got to get rid of this baby, you're getting an abortion, and her just being so adamant about keeping the baby. And what was confusing to me is if you are going to keep a child, you should have some sort of game plan, especially if you have nowhere to live, you don't have a partner, you're doing this on your own.
Totally.
Like, come up with a plan, because at your age, if you have like an entryway into Stanford, you're literally sacrificing all of this to not really be sure about what you want.
Well, okay, so for people who've gotten pregnant young and whatever, I don't think that she's sacrificing everything. I don't personally think that. I think you can be a mother, you can be a young mother and still have all the things that someone who had their baby at 35 could. Whatever, I'm just like throwing out numbers. But I understand like where she's coming from, that she wanted to actually keep her child, because if there is a child, if you get pregnant and that's something you want to do, if that's your choice, by all means, if you choose to have an abortion, have an abortion. I mean, like, I just don't think we should be like, she's not going to be able to do all of this, because that's not true. She's gonna be fine. And I think
she's
Laura
gonna be fine? That's a stretch.
I mean,
Okay, baby. I'm playing.
this guy.
She's screwed, dude.
But Jeez,
Oh,
no.
man.
But I think Laura was preparing her to be a mother, although like it came off really harsh.
She came in hot.
Yeah,
She's an attorney.
Yeah, but she was basically telling her like, get your stuff together. You're about to have a baby.
Right.
You can't be dragging everybody along with your mess. Like this is you now, girl.
And
Yeah.
she doesn't have people to tell her that too.
Yeah.
So it's just hard because Laura is so attached to what's actually going on, and she's clearly a bit biased, and that's what made it a little.
I'm happy we're seeing
Bit of a
Laura
stinger.
talk this.
The
Laura
past 2
is-
episodes, we've been
she's
seeing more of her
coming hot.
character.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that. Tony Stark 3000 in the chat is saying, I think the Jordan storyline does happen in the real world, but you just don't hear about it a lot. I wonder if that's true.
Tony Stark, I like that
think
name.
Yes.
I love Iron Man.
I agree,
and
Tony.
That it isn't unrealistic, since some coaches will do the same for their football players, especially if they have a bright future in the NFL. He's basically talking about what Billy Baker did, taking the bullet, taking the heat for Asher. I love all these comments coming in. Shout out to Nat Rosen, Tony
Very
Stark.
unrealistic to throw away steroids on the school property. Right. Like, totally with you.
Yeah, yeah. See, I mean, there's some holes in the storytelling, but, we can't have everything perfect all the time. Da Vinci, I do want to turn this on you now and, ask you about your experience being on set, working with the cast. What has that been like for the past season?
It's been great. It's been great. When I got on the set, it was like family. It's like I knew everyone there already, And prior to being on set, I actually met a lot of them outside of set and just different, environments. So getting on there, it just felt really comfortable. I knew the casting department really well because I went out for Spencer 4 times during the pilot. And then a whole bunch of other characters over and over, and then didn't get any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So and then this season they came back, and I was like, all right, I'll self tape, and then did it.
How did you get into acting?
Ooh.
It's a good question. I've always wanted to act as a kid, and I did music and stuff like that. But I guess it really. Everybody has entertainment dreams,
right.
But then it's to really think I could be an entertainer. You kind of have to be a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was in college in Central Florida, getting my degree in criminal justice, and I took acting as an elective. This is an easy class. I'm just gonna take it. And then I remember final exam day, my professor was like, yo, you should really pursue this. You're very natural at it. And I was like, yeah, don't gas me. I know the chances of being an actual actor, you know what I'm saying? I'm not about to, But then I just started, reading books. And I remember in that period, I was 17 when I got to college. And I deleted, I had no social media. I wasn't hanging out with friends like that. I wasn't partying. I was celibate, sober, and for 2 years. And I was just reading and just educating myself, just reading, working out, that's it. And it's a light bulb really just went off in my head. It was yo, I think I can do this shit. Mm-hmm. And then I was reading the book, The Alchemist, and it was when something is really for you, the entire universe conspires into helping you achieve that goal. So I just started seeing so many things fall into place, and I was like, maybe someone is talking to me. But I never shared it with anyone really, because I know there's so many naysayers out there, so I just really talked about it with my brother. And, I just wrote down mantras and wrote down my vision and just came up north, started doing music, performing, got discovered at Jay-Z's mother's restaurant in Newark at the time. And then, things just my manager there, he found me, he discovered me, and then started putting pieces together.
Oh
and
my
we
God.
just started grinding, and then, it took a solid 5 years.
I feel like it usually takes a little while.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you did where you're like, oh, I'm an actor?
It was Marvel Jessica Jones. Right after I signed with my agency, I booked 2 weeks later, and I was like, what the hell? This is crazy. I remember being on set, seeing how many hours it take to shoot just one scene.
Right.
I was like, this is ridiculous. The camera got to be this way, then this way, then this way, then this way. Then, it took 4 hours for just one scene. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I was nervous as hell. And then right after that, I started working on Grownish. And I remember it was just such a big set. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew where to go. And I'm just acting like I know what to do, but I really don't. It was a lot to really take in all of that. Because it's just it's different being in a class and then being on an actual production with those cameras in front of your face. Then you got to hit marks, and it's just so much that goes behind it. So it was,
It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Is there a character that you haven't played yet? A type of character that you would want to play?
A villain.
Ooh.
I don't think I want to be a villain.
I don't think I can see you as one.
Yeah, I played good. The beginning of All American, I was like kind of like the asshole guy.
Yeah.
If you could look into a crystal ball and it could show you something about your future, what would you want to see?
I wouldn't.
I was gonna say I'm scared of crystal balls.
I wouldn't. I don't. I just think there's a reason for why we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't try to play with that.
You would just want to be surprised and
Oh yeah,
be
I like
present.
the element of surprise. I wouldn't, cause then and if I know that, and I know my mind and the way I am, like I would be looking forward to that
Yeah.
over and over. Or like, what if they, like I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, cause that could really mess up how you live in the present moment if you tamper with something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what if I ask them a question like, when am I gonna die? And they say, in 36 years. That 36 years from today, I would be living every day thinking about that.
I meant more like, what would you want for yourself if you could just like have it, 5 years from now, 10 years from
Like,
now?
what would I want for
What would you
myself?
want for yourself in the realm of career?
Oh, I want to get into directing and producing, like writing my own projects. I want to like be a lead in a few movies and, be a lead. Some of the, what I want kind of happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, just be like have my own show and probably like a few movies under my belt that where I'm the lead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what part of, or what aspect of All American resonates with you the most?
I think everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. There's not everything. I just the whole storyline with the Crenshaw and Beverly and just how the kids are treated differently in Beverly Hills from Crenshaw, I think, because I kind of went through all of that. So I just think the entire storyline, I was like, wow, if I was in high school, this would be like every day I would be going to school thinking I'm Spencer. Like, yeah, I'm Spencer. Like, every day, like it's good. It's a good show.
Did you play sports?
Yeah. Played basketball, football, baseball. Football was my favorite sport. Like, if I was to go pro in a sport, it would have been football. But it's like my
You
parents,
really are Spencer.
my parents, they're just like, yo, you get hurt and injured, doctor's bills. They wasn't trying to pay for medical bills. So that's the only thing they could think of. Like, that's it.
Well, we have to wrap up the show very soon since we're out of time. But I do want us to quickly go into predictions for next week. Of what we think is going to happen. So
AfterBuzz
start over there.
Okay, everybody knows I've been starting to predict the next season. So you're gonna go to UCLA with Spencer, and then Simone's gonna have a baby, and Jordan's gonna be the stepdaddy.
okay. All right.
I'm like, Mina?
Sierra.
I feel like I've said all of my predictions. They keep getting shut down. I still think that, why do I get Olivia and Layla confused? I think Coop and Layla, something's gonna happen still.
Like
Yeah.
together.
Like, whoa, like
Like
you
they
think
like
they're
each
gonna...
other. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's...
Okay, that
I
means
haven't heard that
They
one
have
yet.
wait, Layla's the one that's like producing the music, right?
Yeah, they have a chemistry.
Yeah,
They
they
have a
definitely
chemistry,
do.
like they're creating art together. They're both so passionate about it. They're so young. They're both so lost and confused. Like, that's a home run.
I'm seeing Layla. Yeah, Layla giving me those vibes. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Right.
She
I
is.
think Coop is gonna get into some more trouble, not because of her own actions,
I
but
can't do
because
that.
of aggression directed towards her. She just has like this doe in headlights look, where she always looks like something's gonna happen and like lost and confused. So
Tony Stark says, I predict Coop and Layla are gonna have a moment.
Yeah.
Also, one other question: what was the way back set like?
Oh, that was dope. Working with Ben Affleck was like fire. He we had a few conversations, but one of the greatest conversations was about height, because I always felt like I was too tall to be an actor, because everyone is just like really short. Like, it's bad. No shade to you guys, but it's the truth. And I was just telling him, like, I'm afraid, like, because of my height sometimes, and like I won't get roles because of that. And he's 6'4", so he's taller than me. And he was just
Oh my god, I did not know
yeah,
that.
Ben Affleck, he's a big guy. And he was like,
I'm like,
nah, they said the same thing to me, and look at me now, and this is not. And he was like, don't worry about it. That's what's going to make you stand out. And I
Right.
was like, all right, I felt good about it.
thanks, Ben.
that's
Yeah, I
that's
was like,
casually.
thanks, Benjamin.
Well, thank you
Oh my
so,
God.
so much, Da Vinci, for joining us on today's episode of All American. It's been a blast. We really hope you come back. We're going to have a reunion show
Okay,
for
I
the
will, I
season
will.
finale, so we hope you come back to All American. It's been a pleasure. Let everyone know where they can find you on social media, Da Vinci.
Okay, you can find me on Instagram at Da Vinci, DaVinchi. Twitter, Da Vinci Justy, DaVinchiJuste. And that's the only social media I have.
Great.
So, yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much, Da Vinci.
Yay.
Zakiyyah.
Okay, guys, you can find me on Instagram at Zakiyyah_, and that's pretty much everywhere. Also, he's being humble. Catch him on HBO. You have like a show you're in the pilot for.
Oh yeah, we're shooting right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Just follow him on social media, you guys.
yeah.
You'll find everything out about him.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and unfortunately TikTok at Sierra
Oh,
Chanell.
I have a TikTok. I'm sorry. Damn.
I'm kidding. I love TikTok.
Da Vinci, what's your TikTok?
It's Da Vinci Justy, DaVinchiJuste.
Perfect. And my name is Mina Naidine. You can also find me on TikTok at Mina Makes Magic. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. We will see you all next week.
bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.